What is up, people? D the G here. Hope you're all having the best day you've ever had in your life. We've got a little bit of a different video here today because I'm slightly injured. I decided we're going to rank pro Rocket League players by their names and only their names. So we don't care about ability, we don't care about how much I like them, we care about the things that matter, which is how good is their Rocket League name, not their, not their human name. We're focused on the Rocket League name. We're going to be doing the top 3 teams in Europe and North America from last season. And the goal, as always, is to upset as many people as possible. Let's dive in. Alright, we're going to start with BDS here, who were top in the European rankings, with Extra. This sounds like a few years ago I had some flatmates who would say, mostly girls, and they'd say everything was extra, Like if you did something, let's say you dressed up and you looked nice for a night out, they'd be like, "Oh my god, that's so extra."
OMG, you're just so extra.
And it was one of the most annoying things I've ever heard in my life. And for that reason, Extra, I'm giving you D tier. Alrighty, Mark by 8. I used to like this name because the 8 is mysterious. The 8 is very mysterious. You're like, buy 8, what does that mean? Is it because he can, I don't know, buy 8 Rolexes now with all his, cash money? I don't know what it means. However, it was brought to my attention that if he ever loses a match, and I can't remember where I heard this, if he ever loses a match 8-0 or 9-1 or 10-2, his name becomes lost by 8, and that is just, you can never ever recover from that. And for that reason, we're going to give him B tier. Alrighty, lastly for BDS, Monkey Moon. I love this name. It sounds like he clearly couldn't think of a name. So he went online, he went on a random word generator, and the first 2 words, he was like, I'm going to combine them, and that's going to be my name forever. And it just happened to have alliteration in it. Monkey Moon. It also sounds like a natural phenomenon. You have like blue moons, you have eclipses. Sometimes you have monkey moons. And that's when, I don't know, I guess the moon looks like a chimpanzee or something. I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Monkey Moon, A tier. Alright, we're going to go number 1 in North America now, which was NRG, and the first player alphabetically is Garrett G. This is just his name, I'm pretty sure, and the G is just the first letter of his surname. And there are a lot of players like this, and it's uncreative.
Yes, offense.
So, C tier. Next up, Jstn. I don't care, C tier. Okay, a bad start to NRG, but Squishy, this is where they make up for it. Squishy is, somehow, I don't know how, it is the most intimidating name I've ever come across. If somebody called Squishy is styling on you and is scoring, 3 or 4 goals a game, and you just keep seeing Squishy scored, that's just embarrassing. And for that reason, Squishy is A tier. Alright, hopping back over to Europe. Team Vitality. Alpha 54. Alpha 54 sounds like... Okay, it either sounds like a type of airplane. Like, oh, you flying Boeing? No, I'm flying on the Alpha 54 today. Or, it sounds like a secret base somewhere in the desert. It reminds me of Area 51. You have Area 51, and then the even more secret things are in Alpha 54. It sounds like 3 things. It also sounds like he wanted to call himself Alpha, but there were 53 other Alphas, and so he had to settle for Alpha 54, and that's not a good look for a professional gamer, and for that reason, Alpha 54, you're getting C tier. Alright, next up, Fairy Peak with an exclamation mark. If you put punctuation in, it goes down well with me. But this is what I would call Monkey Moon syndrome. It's the same premise. It sounds like he just went into a random word generator and Fairy came up first, then Peak, and he was like, Fairy Peak, and I'm going to slap an exclamation mark on it. It doesn't work as well. There's no alliteration. Fairy Peak doesn't really make any sense. And it's kind of awkward to say. Fairy Peak. It's just, it doesn't flow like Monkey Moon. Fairy Peak, Sorry, buddy. That's a C tier. Last but not least, Kaydop. Kaydop sounds like some kind of wrestling move. He steps in the ring and he's like, oh, he's gonna pull off the Kaydop. And it sounds like it would be devastating, which I like a lot. It also sounds like he's been creative and, maybe his name is like Caden Doppler, and he's just simplified that to Kaydop. Not that Caden Doppler is really a name. I don't know. I don't know if that's what he's done. I have no idea what his name is. So, pretty cool. Better than his teammates. Let's go B tier. Alright, number 2 in North America, Team Envy. We're starting with Atomic. This name just feels a little bit basic to me. It's kind of a cool word. I don't know. I don't get it. Atomic. What? You're very small. It doesn't sit well with me. Sorry. So yeah, C tier. Mist. This is actually pretty cool. I don't know why, because mist is kind of another word for fog, and if you were called Fog, that would be a terrible name. But mist is pretty cool. It's something. It's a little bit mysterious. I like it. I can't tell you why. But you know what? I don't need to explain myself to you. A tier. Love it. Good job, Mist. Lastly, Turbopolsa. I believe this guy is from not an English-speaking country, so maybe Turbopolsa means something in his language. I don't know. It sounds like a kids' TV show a little bit, and Turbopolsa is like the name they give to the magic car that flies through the sky. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let's all hop in the Turbopolsa. Bit of a mouthful. You could shorten it to Turbo, but that sounds even... I don't know, sounds even worse to me. I'd rather shorten it to Pulsar. That's really cool. But Turbopolsa as a name, C tier. Hopping back over to Europe, number 3, Top Blokes. Great name for the team, but that's not what we're ranking here. First, we start with Archie. It's his name, C tier. Get out of my face. Next is Flame, with looks like a big E at the end. Flame... this is like Atomic. It's a reasonably cool word, but it's not that cool. I think Flames would be cooler if it was FL, with an S on the end, not a Z, but an S. Flames, that would be really cool. As it is, it's Flame, C tier. Lastly, we've got Casio. Casio I don't like, and I'll tell you why. There is a brand of calculators in the UK, maybe everywhere, and they're called Casio calculators. And no one enjoys being on their calculator. If you're on your calculator, you're doing maths. No one wants to do that. Casio, you bring back bad memories. C tier. Alrighty, Space Station Gaming, number 3 in North America. Let's see what they got. Arsenal. This, I believe, has no relation to the football team Arsenal. And so I just don't get it. Why would you name yourself after an entire football team? That would be like my name being the Seattle Seahawks. It makes absolutely no sense. Don't know what that's about. I'm pretty sure he didn't know that this was a football team. I could be wrong, but C tier. Next, Retals. Retals sounds like some kind of skin condition that you'd go to the doctor for and need to get some kind of medication. Like you go with like a rash on your skin, and the doctor's like, "Oh, sorry, you've got Retals. You need to take this for 3 to 5 days." That doesn't conjure the best images in my head. I have, however, learned that he's called Retals because his name is Slater, and Retals is Slater backwards, and therefore Slater is Retals backwards. But it's too late. Retals, C tier. Last, but certainly least, is Sypical. Sypical sounds like a 3-year-old who's just learning to talk and has heard their parents say typical a lot, and they just can't pronounce it. They're like, oh, it's that Sypical. It also lends itself to like commentary where, let's say Sypical scores a great goal, the commentators say, oh, that's typical from Sypical. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Sypical, I'm sorry, D tier. Alright people, hope you enjoyed my ranking of Rocket League players by their name. This is the definitive ranking of that. If you see anything like this anywhere else, it's fraud and it's incorrect as well. It's probably also a pretty good predictor of how they're going to perform next season. So if you want to know that, just look at this tier list. And given the amount of C and D tiers we have, I don't think players are going to be performing particularly well. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.